This is going to be a tutorial on how to set up your Porsche 911 992. Specifically, I mean, this will work for all 992s, but specifically with the PCM from 22 to 24. 20 and 21, they had the previous version, which is the same one that you'll find in the Porsche Macan. So this example, as you can see, is a Targa. It's a Targa 4S. This is how I would show somebody how to use the car for the first time if they're not even familiar with Porsche. First, we're going to log in. When you get into the car and turn it on to the accessory mode, you should have already gotten your invitation from the My Porsche app. This would be an email. So you're going to go ahead and download this app, My Porsche, and once you're in there and you accept the invitation from Porsche, I should do a whole separate video on this process, because if your salesman didn't have a chance to walk you through it, if you've never done it before, it can be a little daunting. So here's our car. So we're going to use the same information that we have here in the car, or have on the My Porsche app, to log into our account. So right now, because this was previously a rental or a subscriber car, it's logged in under the Porsche Drive account, as you can see here. But if we weren't, it would just have guest or add new account. If it's a brand new car, it's going to just pop up with the login wizard. So you just follow the instructions on the wizard. It'll be very much like this. So you'll enter your Porsche ID, which is the email that you received the invitation from. And then when you got that invitation, it would prompt you to set up a password, which is an uppercase, lowercase, number, and a special character. Let me close this door. So you'll log in with that, and it'll log you into your account, and it'll show up like this. Your name will be there instead of Porsche Drive. So once you're logged into the PCM like this, you could start setting up the car to your preferences. And this, of course, is depending on your build, what options were built into your car from the factory. So to set up your phone, which will be the first thing, this will also be in that setup wizard. It'll ask you to set up your phone. You're going to open up to Bluetooth on your phone, the same as in most cars, so I'll just do this really quick. Open up to Bluetooth, connect new device, connect new phone, and accept the pairing request. You'll just follow the instructions, allow contacts, and then wait a minute because it's going to ask about CarPlay. So I'll leave this. Here it is, connect CarPlay. Yes. Is asking if it's okay to share the data and transfer information. So if it doesn't pop up automatically in CarPlay, if you go back to devices here and you'll see your phone, this will be grayed out. Here it's red, which means it's on and ready to go. If it's gray like that, you can go ahead and just tap on the CarPlay symbol and it'll start it back up again. So once you're back to the main PCM here, you can see that Apple CarPlay is enabled and you can get into your car. So now what we could do is we could start setting the car up. I'm going to start this to get some AC going here. It's getting warm. Put my phone away. Depending on how it's built, like I say, this one has the manual steering wheel, so we'll just lock that into place. You'll have your settings buttons here on the side. So in this case, you'll just set your seat where you want it to set, and your side view mirrors, which are right here in the door. Setting that side. So I'll just adjust that. I'll come over here. I'll just this side view mirror. And then once I have everything the way I want it, I'll hit set so that it's lit up, and then my number. Let's say you start driving around and you want your seat a little closer. Go ahead and hit set and your number. Anytime you adjust anything like that, hit set and your number. It'll also could be applied to your air conditioning and heating as well. So let's go into the vehicle here and just make sure that all the options that we want to have selected is on. Like for instance, we want to have our comfort entry selected because that will allow the adjust the steering wheel and the seat with our key. Everything gets saved to your key. And so one more thing to remember is only have one key in the car at a time when you're saving your settings. If you have this key and your wife has the other key, you could be number 1, she could be number 2, but whatever you assign it to, whatever key's in the car, that's what it'll save to. And so let's say you're both coming to the car and you both have your keys on you. The car will recognize whoever comes to the driver's side first. And that's the person that will, all the settings of the car, it will set up automatically. You can see with this light on that the front axle lift is on. So I'm going to lower that and just hold it down. You can see the nose of the car dip. And then once it's down, you'll see the sign telling you it's down all the way. Okay, so yeah, so just make sure that one key at a time when you're programming the keys. You could also add your wife as a secondary account if you want as well. If you go on the My Porsche app, you'll go into My Account, My Profile, and then Edit Profile Data, which will take you to the Porsche Connect account where you can add a secondary user. Once you're in secondary user, it'll ask for the email, address of the person that you want to set up as a secondary user, and it'll send them the same invitation to set up their own My Porsche account for vehicles. So you could select, if you have more than one Porsche in the house, which one to add as a secondary user. So just follow the instructions under that specific VIN. And then you could do the same thing. Once they get the invitation, set up their password, you could add new account and then just add them on. And then when they approach the vehicle, instead of having John here, it will have Mary. As long as she approaches the driver's side first, it'll automatically log in. Okay, continuing on with the tour here, you just leave the lights in auto. This is for fog lights. This is for turning the lights on, not auto. In auto, it'll come on when it gets dark. This turns it on manually. And then this is your parking brakes. Your windows here. This is if you have electric mirrors, they will fold in. If you want to do it, like if you have a small opening to fit through, you could fold them in temporarily if you want. You could also have that set in vehicle settings so that it will fold automatically when you lock the car. So you'll go into vehicle settings, into vehicle locking systems, fold exterior mirrors when locking. So they'll automatically close up when I lock the door. And here's, you want to make sure all these things are selected as well. Depending, again, if it's selectable, depends on how your car was built. This one is expanded comfort access. It'll unlock the doors at close range. Some people don't like that. It's a safety issue. So if you're concerned with that in your account, like if your wife is logged in, she could unselect that so that she physically has to be at the car, put her hand underneath the doorknob in order for it to unlock instead of pre-opening and unlocking for her. Okay. So the way this PCM works, it's much the same way as a cell phone works. The way it's set up with these main apps here down at the bottom. You could switch them around however you want, and these are all your other apps, as they call them in the PCM. You could also move these around depending on which ones that you need. The way that you would do that is if you'd come in here, you would adjust the order of your apps, and then you could just hold and drag them wherever you want to custom order them. So that's the way the basic layout of this works. These apps duplicate across the top here, standard. Like I say, you could move them around. These all do the same thing, pressing in either way. They just leave these here, like I say, to duplicate the functionality of a cell phone or the ones that always you want quick access to. Whenever you see these three dots at whatever screen you're at, that just means there's a sub-menu behind that screen. So for instance, if we're in music and we go to the three dots, there's options behind music of adjusting certain things. So there's hundreds of things you could do with this PCM. I suggest when you're in the car waiting for someone, you just start playing with the menus and going into sub-menus and trying different things that you would like to opt for your car. As far as the steering wheel and the functions of these screens go, let me put this down, it could be glary. So the way that this button works is this toggles between the two screens on either side. You can see the red highlight around the tube depending on what you toggle here. And when you're in, like for instance, if we're in this side, then the scroll operates this side of the screen. So you could see or toggle it to what you want to look at. You toggle it over to this side, and then this scroll operates this screen, depending on what you have available or built into your car or functions that you have on. This is your cruise control. Again, depending on how your car is built, you're going to have different functionality with this, or your adaptive cruise control, things like that. This car is just opted with the plain cruise control. This is always the back button. So let's say we're in here and we go into a sub menu. If we want to go back, we go back. That's I forgot to say. Once you're in, this operates much like the PCM does. If we're inside a particular screen and then we press the button, it will give us a sub menu behind whatever we're looking at. And if we want to get out of that, we use the back button to get back out to where we were before. This is to answer and hang up your phone calls. This is to forward to the next track or song that you're listening to. This is a programmable button, so if you press and hold it down, once you get the car, it asks you, do you want to change the button assignment? So we'll come in here, and then it gives you all these options for what you want to have the button do. Like for instance, turn the stop-start function off when you press that button. So we can go back out of that. And so now when we do that, every time we press that button, it'll automatically start the car again. If it comes, once it gets warmed up and it comes to a stop, and it'll turn off the engine, that will turn it back on again. This is your voice control button. There's two things that this can do. It can operate the vehicle's version of Siri as well as Siri in Apple CarPlay. So to operate the vehicle's version, you just press it really quick and you'll see this is the vehicle's version of Siri, and you could ask it to do different things in the car, find locations, turn the temperature up, things like that. You can get out of it. Then if you hold it down for 2 seconds, it turns on CarPlay, and now Siri is up. You can see how the Siri version in CarPlay has come up if you press it for 2 seconds. To get back out of CarPlay, you'll just go to Home, and now you're in the vehicle again. And you could toggle between CarPlay and CarPlay Siri and the vehicle's version of Siri with this button. You don't have to get in and out of it before you use it. This is your mode switch.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Never mind. So this is your mode switch. It will tell you which mode you're driving in. This is the push to pass button. This automatically makes the car ready to go as soon as you touch the throttle. You don't have to wait for a kick down and gearing or anything. You'll try this if you're on the freeway. If it's in 8th gear and you press it, it'll drop down like 3 gears and turbo spooled, ready to go. You could turn it on and off as many times as you want. It doesn't hurt the vehicle. It's just telling the car to get ready because you have to pass someone. So that's why we kind of call it push to pass. Manual shifting on the steering wheel. If you're driving around in normal mode and anytime you want to downshift, you're welcome to pull the gears down or up if you want. It'll just automatically revert to automatic if you stop pulling on the paddles. Or if you want to drive in manual mode, you could hit the M down here, and then the car will always shift down like when you come to a stop, but it will not shift up until you pull the next gear paddle. So that's how manual mode works. A parking brake down here, cooled heated seats if you have them optioned in, and this is a Targa, so this is how you'll open and close the Targa top, or this would be the convertible buttons if you had a convertible, and this would be your wind deflector if you had a cabriolet. There'd be a wind deflector button down right here. This is your volume control for whatever you're listening to, your telephone, and this is just a button to be able to operate the PCM without touching the screen. It takes a little practice getting used to. This is going to be a back button, so let's say we're in media and we use this scroll. You'll see once it loads. Let's go to XM here. We could scroll instead of touch the screen, and then if we want to see something, we could press this button and it'll get into that. And if you want to go back, you go back, like if you're into a menu. Auto for temperature, if you want to set your temperature. AC max when it's super cold. And this is your rear defrost and your front defrost. These buttons will change depending on what you have optioned into your car. For instance, because this has front axle lift, that's what this button is. This is the sport exhaust button, so this will turn your sport exhaust on. You can see how it changes the tone of the exhaust immediately. So that's on and off. This is your traction control. Mostly guys, if you want to do donuts in the rain or something and not have any of the driving assistance as far as traction goes, you turn that off. Not recommended if you don't know what you're doing. Your hazards, and this is your PASM control, how stiff your compression and rebound rate is. You see that turns on when you go into or Sport Plus mode. I'm sorry. And that's the basic configuration of that. And this is your windshield wipers. It works basically the same in every car. This is for intermittent, how fast you want to have the speed once you're in there. This is your flashers and your signals. Okay, thanks for joining me on this brief tour. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll try to make a video for it.